Hello everybody. This is the Tennis Toast episode 8. We're in middle of US Open and we just witnessed one of the biggest matches of this year. Yes, it's the biggest match of this year. I think it kind of dwarfs Rafa and Medvedev. Till now, that was the biggest match. But we just saw some magic happen on tennis court where Yannick Sinner and Alcaraz battled out for 5 hours, 15 minutes. Such beautiful shot making. And here we are. So this is what. But before we jump to the match, there's a second point which I'm gonna jump to. But the very first point is another thing which happened a little bit before that match, which was that US Open curse lives on. Medvedev went out fourth round against a player who was much lower in the ranking. Now it can be debated that he should be higher because Wimbledon points were not counted, but still it was an upset. We did not expect Medvedev to lose that too in just 4 sets. So Tejas, how did you feel after that defeat? What do you think went wrong for Medvedev?
Medvedev, I think he's a little intimidated by Kyrgios these days. I think he's sort of thinks that Kyrgios has come of age and he's a proper. It is quite evident with his post-match press conference as well. So he compared Kyrgios' level to that of Novak and Rafa, right, at their peak. So it just shows to me that he has gotten inside his head. I think it started with that. Australian Open, I think earlier this year, where the crowd really got to him against Kyrgios' match. I think that from that point, whenever I've seen Medvedev and Kyrgios play, I feel Kyrgios is much more confident and much more secure in the match. So it's more of a mental thing for Medvedev more than any skill-related stuff. Of course, Sonic is playing probably his best tennis, but I really expected Medvedev to come out and play his best tennis, but somehow it didn't happen. So it's more of a mental thing, I feel, from Medvedev's point of view.
Yeah, I also completely agree to it. Like, if you defeat Medvedev and then you suddenly used to Hashanov, it kind of is a shock because I went back and I was like, okay, let's see what Hashanov has been doing this year. And this has been one of the worst years of Hashanov so far. And suddenly he's
Yeah.
just popping up directly in US Open. So it was not something that, oh, this guy's performing so well, he's a breakout star. It's just that, so just also to me, it looks like a mental problem. I think Medvedev in general is going through a really bad mental phase where I think after US Open and his hernia surgery, he's just not able to come back properly. It's not hernia, I think it was groin. I don't know, some surgery.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So Aniruddha, what's your take on this? What do you think happened in the match? It was some statistical thing or just the mental thing?
I agree. I agree with Tejas. I think it was a mental thing because as Tejas brought out that point of Australian Open post match when he said that the child in him is dead or something like that. So I think it's about that, and also in during the match, I think he was yelling something at the chair umpire that somebody from Kyrgios's box was doing something between the serves. So I think that really got into his head, and I very nicely remember that in the last podcast I said that he has come a long way when it comes to handling his nerves, but I think there's still a long way to go. And yeah, he I mean, if he has done a great match with Rafa, a five setter with Rafa, then I think a five setter with Kyrgios should have been a piece of cake. But yeah, so
Yeah,
hi
that's
Prachi.
yeah, hi Prachi. So yeah, like before we asked Prachi the same question, yeah, I'll just follow up that's true because it's not that he did just the five setter which happened in Australia in 2019 when Medvedev was a much more immature player. Even then he
Mhm.
was able to take Rafa to 5 sets, but suddenly he loses against Kyrgios and it's like crashing and burning. The match was not good, unforced errors. It was bad to watch. It was sad to watch. So yeah, kind of disappointing. So Prachi, the question which we are having right now is that we saw Medvedev lose against Kyrgios. So what do you think happened there? Was it just a mental problem, which all of us are kind of on the same page that it's definitely a mental problem, or do you also think it's a strategical problem that Medvedev's strategy is not working, kind of?
Strategy in what sense? Is it the serve? Is it just the game? Like
So if
he's
I have to cover a point, like one thing which I felt again, I don't think it's much big of an issue because Medvedev has been able to get out of such situations before. That is the serve volley thing which I mentioned last time. So Medvedev also said this time that he did try to save the serve early, but he was not able to. So he started shifting a little bit behind the line. And when he was actually taking the serve early, he went to 7-9 and he also won a set. So I think that was working for him, but he's just not confident enough to keep doing that.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem, and that confidence problem is coming from his mental problems, which he is facing since the Australian Open this year.
Hmm.
I mean, definitely your mental space, the condition you are in right now will definitely affect your strategy as well as we thought about. Correct. So yeah, I mean, I agree. If people have agreed, like I agree that could be a problem, that he is like maybe he's thinking about something else. Also, he was playing in the USA. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know how Karen Khachanov won.
Prachi
Karen
is like
Khachanov played
slowly
a
bringing
yeah,
politics. He's like a
and
politician.
Karen Khachanov played a great match, right?
Yeah.
So he was in USA, so that could not be an issue. Should not be an issue. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the like one of another shockers which we
That's
just discussed. Karen Hashanov winning against Kyrgios when Kyrgios just defeated Medvedev. Ended up breaking rackets. I think racket rightfully was broken, but but yeah, like some shocking results. But what was not shocking was the match all of us were really anticipating to be good, and it just lived up to the hype. I was blown away by that performance. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people are saying this is the first time after a big three match that we have been so
yeah.
excited seeing two players play. Like I
exactly.
never felt it ever with Team Zverev or maybe Medvedev Zverev. Any of such matches, they never gave me this amount of thrill. I'm talking about the Sinner and Alcaraz match, which happened today, went to 5 sets. Both of them were making comebacks. Yeah, Alcaraz made the ones which mattered, but even Sinner in the second set and third set, he played extremely well, played very well. So Aniruddha, did you watch the match? What do you think about future of tennis? How good did you feel after that match ended?
I mean, this was probably the next good match that I've watched after Thiem versus Nadal.
Hmm.
So which was like the longest match, 5 or 26. But yeah, dude, this match was really good. I mean, there was so you just don't have, serve, serve, serve. You had serve being broken, and then you had good 20-25 shot rallies as well. So I think it was a great match in terms of not just how talented these two players are, but also that these are the ones who have been able to sort of take their, I mean, enter at a level and then take it to another level, and sort of take the baton of tennis forward. Unlike say Tsitsipas or Zverev in the past, I think 2 years or something like that. So yeah, really excited for these two, and I hoped they were not in the same group so that we could have
Hmm.
seen
The
finals.
final
But
like
yeah,
that, yeah.
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 I mean, this match was worthy of a final,
Yeah,
honestly.
this was definitely worthy of a final. Like
Yeah.
I also guess like so till now all the panel knows I'm a huge Rafa fan. So I had such like memories of the Australian Open final, but I saw this and I was like, okay, I have to be honest, this was better. This was just the shot making, the amount of competition, the thrill. Oh my God, it was so good.
And I
So
mean, you'd expect that they would be tired after five
yeah,
years or
5 hours,
four
yeah.
hours or something, but no signs of that. I mean, that was pretty
Sinner
amazing.
was a little tired in the end, towards the end, but definitely not Alcaraz. He's a
Oh
machine.
yeah, that guy is just
Yeah.
Next level.
next level.
Next level.
So Tejas, like you saw the match. I also would like to mention the shot which is now making rounds of the internet, the behind the back shot which
Behind the
Alcaraz
back,
just stood.
yeah.
So and there was so many such shots, I cannot even like they're innumerable. The extended highlights are awesome. What did you feel about the match?
I think I remember in 2012 watching the Australian Open finals between Novak and Rafa. I think it went on for 6 hours. I think
Hmm.
so. This match reminded me of that because
Yeah.
I never really thought that anything can top that because that was a
Mm.
monumental effort by both of them.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, in terms of quality, it's a little special because this is coming at the end of the season. That was
Mm.
at the beginning of the season when players are fresh and all those things. But these guys playing at the end of the season when everyone else is tired, the top seeds are gone, and these guys are putting up a show. These two strong guys who are good at the back and also, Alcaraz for sure. He's tremendous at the net.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a facet of the game. It has so much improved. I think over the last year or so, right? It's too good, and this backhand shot, right? All comes with the confidence that these guys have. It's just that sky is the limit for these two guys. They'll go for the shots and they have the talent to pull them off. So I have nothing else than really, really encouraging words for both of them. I really hope these guys are the future of tennis, because they hold themselves in a good way as well. They're not bratty, or they're not too arrogant. They made sure that they greeted each other properly.
Yeah.
Both of them
Yeah.
after the match. It's such a good feel good sort of match that everyone wants to watch, rather than seeing bracket breaking or the people tearing their shirt off and all those things. I mean, aggression is something, but in the end, they should just come over and just greet each other. So overall, it was a wonderful match, and I hope Carlos Alcaraz goes forward and wins his first Grand Slam. But Yannick Sinner is definitely next season. I feel he'll be one of the championship contenders.
Yeah, I think like one thing which I also felt was that till last year, Sinner was there. Now he is going to make it. Like that's how good his level has also become. Also, like coming to the point, I do see that like just a match which happened just before that under Rublev match where he lost in straight sets. Rublev was much more dramatic after the match than Sinner was, and Sinner had all the rights to be dramatic, all the rights to cry, but Rublev was actually like crying and he was doing like weird tantrums. And the thing is, like Rublev always does it. Like there's extremely weird videos of Rublev which you'll see where I don't know what he keeps doing. He keeps slapping himself with the racket and all that. So yeah, these two guys are not bratty. Also, since this was mentioned, so I'll ask Prachi this question because she also has a special propensity for the players of this region. So when the Berrettini was having a match against, I guess Berrettini had the match against some Spaniard player, uh, Ramos, that guy, Alexander Davidovich Fokina.
Okay, Fokina.
So one thing which he said was that, have you ever seen a Spanish guy be tired? It's something with the way which they train.
It's
That's true. Like I also suddenly it struck me.
Spanish Toro bulls, like, right? Take
See,
Fernando Verdasco, take Rafael Nadal, and now it's Alcaraz. I mean,
David Ferrer.
Energy, yeah. David Ferrer,
David Ferrer as well.
Did you see how happy Prachi was? She didn't let me complete my question. She was like, I'm gonna jump and Spaniards are mentioned.
No, so I texted her. I was like, Prachi, where are you going to watch this match? And then she wakes up and she's like, yeah, I'm watching this match. And can you believe that these guys are from Rafael Nadal Academy? She was so proud. Like it was her academy.
No, the way we put it was that if we get a Ruud and an Alcaraz final, Tony Nadal and Rafael Nadal would be so proud. They're both RNA alumnus. Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like one of the things that Rafa has also been helping a lot of other players. Ruud specifically mentions him. One thing which I've seen with Ruud is that every time like he's asked about his career, he always makes sure to bring Rafael Nadal Academy, which kind of shows that they actually had a huge impact. Also, Ruud has tremendously improved after that. He had been flying under the radar. And he's the second guy who I'm going to mention. So I don't know if it's allowed to say, but now I have a bet with a random anonymous user of Reddit. So the anonymous user of Reddit, this was back when Rafa still hadn't lost. Fine. The match was against Francis Tiafoe. Everybody was like, he's going to win. So the bet was that there were 3 contenders who could become world number 1. Rafael Nadal, Casper Ruud, and Alcaraz. So I got in like kind of debate with this guy that Ruud can actually do it. He can reach the finals and there is a positive chance. He said, and towards the end, the conversation ended with, if Ruud becomes the world number 1, I'll get a tattoo on my butt of his signature. So, so now I have around 50-60 people who are witness to that. That comment itself has around 100 upvotes. So now I'm gunning for it. Fine. Ruud is going to win. So Aniruddha, what do you think about Ruud's chances?
Is it you who is going to get a tattoo?
No, the guy.
Okay, awesome.
So Aniruddha, what do you think about Ruud's chances?
Oh man, no, I think after today's match, I think Alcaraz is a better contender. So I'm rooting for Alcaraz. And yeah, as we just discussed, he's a Spaniard, so he's a better shot.
Tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tejas, so did you see the Casper Ruud's matches? Did you find that he has improved? What do you think are his chances moving forward?
It's definitely improved. I think it'll be a fairy tale of an ending if he ends up winning, right? I mean, he was absolutely destroyed in the French Open finals, and his strong suit is clay. So from that to battling it out and coming to the semifinals, I'd be very happy to see Casper Ruud. Again, he's one of the nicer guys. Keeps it to himself. I think there was a little bit of tantrum here and there, happens every now and then. But I guess on a whole, he's a really nice guy. Couldn't catch his quarterfinals match. I missed it out, but yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, Alcaraz versus Ruud, a showdown for world number one. Why not? Right?
Yeah, that would be a
It'll be fun.
great end to the US
Yeah,
Open, that whoever wins the trophy
yeah,
becomes world number one.
yeah.
It's
It'll
it
be
sounds
fun.
like
Yeah,
a WWE headline.
yeah. Number one contender.
Whoever wins the Royal Rumble becomes world number one. Anyways. So Prachi, like, what do you think about Root's chances? And what do you think is my probability of winning that Reddit bet?
Nah, I mean, yeah, you're probably going to lose because yeah, Ruud is not going to be number one. It is going to be Alcaraz and the US Open title to Alcaraz. That's what
Mm.
I think. So we are not going to go and see that tattoo very soon. Not gonna- But yeah, it'll be fun to watch. It is going to be a great match.
Yeah, that'll be the thumbnail of our final podcast if that happens. It'll generate a lot of interaction from people.
Yeah.
But I think in all this ho-hum about discussing a lot of players, I do think we are missing a guy who just is having time of his career. He is getting all the attention. I'm
Tiafoe.
talking about Francis Tiafoe.
Chances, yeah.
Had a great match against Rafael Nadal. He also had a great follow-up match against Andrei Rublev. So Prachi, how do you think that his game has improved? Do you think he has a realistic chance against Alcaraz? Do count in that Alcaraz, I know he's a Spaniard, tough to get tired, but do you think, like, he just had a very small match, this guy had an extremely long match? Do you think that can also play a role?
It could play a role, yes, but I still feel that Alcaraz has a better shot making and shot placement than Francis Tiafoe. Francis Tiafoe is
Mm,
definitely has a powerful serve, I believe, which Alcaraz right now doesn't. But
mhm.
I don't think that constitutes the whole of the game which they're going to play.
True.
Correct. So for me, strategically, Alcaraz is a better player than Tiafoe. But again, talking about the journey, I mean, he his father was a janitor. I mean, he got a tennis court just to play. Like just go and play. We are giving it to you for
Mm,
free just because you live here. Your dad is a janitor, and that's how he started his journey, and that's how he got his first match was sponsored by someone, and then he started winning. I mean, it's a
mm.
fairy tale journey, is what I believe.
Yeah.
Totally deserves it. And I hope if not here at the US Open, maybe we'll definitely going to see more of him, more of Francis Tiafoe. But not at the US Open, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I also think, like, one of the things is that he doesn't have that level of finals experience and semi-finals experience, so
Yeah.
that might kind of get to him. But apart from the strategy, one thing which we have seen as a weakness of Alcaraz has been, like, in the past year, was crowd support. Like, if the crowd doesn't support him, it starts affecting him mentally. And Tiafoe might be the first opponent where crowd may go against him. Aniruddha, do you think that can play a role? How big of
Ye-
a role do you think it can play?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up because I was going to answer this in three parts, and one of which was going to be the crowd support because I think the crowd in today's match was amazing. I mean, they
Mhm,
were cheering for both of them, so they were really cheering for the tennis that they were playing,
mhm,
I feel. But in Tiafoe's match, it might be otherwise. But maybe, maybe people who have seen him, who have watched him play
Yeah,
this
crowd
match,
is a
they
crazy.
may, yeah, they might get, crazy and, start supporting him as well. But yeah, that can be one point. Another point is, I think Alcaraz, Casper Ruud, they are on a, they have a better momentum because we
mhm,
have seen, which is very evident, that Tiafoe has been less consistent. I mean, he
mhm,
has had good success here and there in bits and pieces.
mhm.
But these guys they've been fairly consistent. So that is one thing that is with them, and on the fact that he has had a longer match and he hasn't. So I remember Alcaraz in his post match, he's saying that that can that is sure to play an effect.
Mhm.
But then he said that. I he said his words were that I think I'm just going to enjoy the moment. So I
Hmm.
think yeah, that really matters, and probably that will
Yeah.
be something.
Yeah.
So I'll, because we are kind of already at around 30-minute mark. Not, oh, we are 20. Fine. Then I can
Yeah,
still keep asking the questions. So Tejas, yeah, the same question to you. So again, I had to mention this, which was the point which Aniruddha mentioned, which was the third point which I was bringing up. Consistency-wise, yes, Tiafoe doesn't have the same consistency as of yet. Like he is riding the high of two matches, but we also saw it. Wimbledon, he was very excited. He said that today morning I woke up and decided to defeat Tsitsipas. Next morning he just lost to somebody else. So it has happened with Tiafoe before. So again, what's your take on it? Now you have all the 3 points. What do you think? How much will it affect? Who will come out of the winner? How many sets? You have the biggest prediction to make here.
I think it's not so simple this time. I feel Tiafoe has leveled up his game. I was watching his game against Rafa, right? So he was very, very quick on the court.
Hmm.
And generally, I've seen that Spanish players they're more grinders from the baseline. They like to get into the rally more, right? 2-3 shots into the rally, and then they'll think about hitting a winner or something. Tiafoe is not someone like that, especially when there is momentum, there is crowd support. When everyone's cheering for him, he'll go for those glory shots, and he has that quickness to
Yeah.
make up for it. So he was very, very quick. So I would not discount Tiafoe that much, but it'll still be 60-40 in favor of Alcaraz. I think maybe a lot closer than what a lot of
People
people
are
might
expecting.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's playing really good. And Nadal with abdomen injury, without abdomen injury, whatever it is, to beat Nadal on merit. That is the huge thing. I haven't seen anyone beat Nadal on merit for a long, long time. Either he's injured or he's coming back from a really bad injury or something like that. But he beat Nadal on merit on a day where his body was feeling better. Nadal.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really discount, but yeah, all-rounded player Alcaraz. I'll go with 60-40 Alcaraz there.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense that it's gonna happen that way. It's gonna be much more closer than people are expecting it out to be. Also, it might be an upset if like Alcaraz just has a very bad field day, which he sometimes has had in past. But I think this time he's gonna sail through because then again, it's a huge opportunity. He also realizes this, and I think one thing which Ferrero will do in the next 2 days is just get his head on the ground so that he doesn't explode in the semifinals. Because one advantage of having Juan Carlos Ferrero as your coach is that he has been in such situations. He know what finals is like, so he can tell you what it is. He can kind of keep you grounded. But when we are talking about Tiafoe, there's another important sports person which you need to talk about because she kind of started the inclusion of these people. Now, a person who kind of also started before that was Arthur Ashe. After that, the one who kind of brought it to the limelight for the complete Black America, kind of bringing him to the limelight of tennis, was Serena Williams. She just had a final match this tournament. But I would not like to focus on the final match because it was the way we expected to go. But I would really like to focus people on the second round match, which she had, which was a great match, especially against one of the top players. So Tejas, like, what did you see that? Did you get to see around that match? Did you expect Serena to win?
No, to be honest, because she looked a little jaded in the first round itself, and watched her play in the Wimbledon as well, right? She was ready for retirement, is what I thought at that point. But she was just, and she herself said in the post-match on-court interview, I think she probably should have, give it a little more thought about it, working her way into the season rather than taking that. But then again, the third set, generally you expect Prime Serena to win those kind of matches. But with all respect to Alia, I think she played okay tennis in the third round, but it was enough to beat Serena. So I think it's a bittersweet moment. A fairy tale win would have been nice, but for all that she has done over the years, she and Venus together for inclusion, for equality in tennis culture in general, right? Which we hardly see in few other sports like Formula One and the other sports, right? We don't see that kind of equality and inclusion. I think these two have played a major role, and I think that surpasses her 23 Grand Slam titles because the things that she has done for the sport, it's something people will read about even 150 years later. That there was some individual called Serena. That's her biggest achievement in her career. So I'd like to wish her all the very best. I'll be missing her on the court. She said you never know, so you never know. She might be back next year. But yeah, I mean, it was a pleasure to watch her one final time, and hopefully all the very best for her future.
Yeah, I think you raised a very important point that a lot of people have a lot of Grand Slams, but a few people have that impact. Another name which just I get reminded of when I talk about the impact is definitely Billie Jean King, and the way she had matches with men in order to ensure that they actually get paid equally, and how WTA is taken equally seriously. I think Serena for us will be the modern day Billie Jean King, and even years after it passes, like this time passes away, we'll be hearing the echoes of the kind of impact which she made on people. So, Aniruddh, did you watch the round two and round three match? Round two, which was against a second ranking player, and at Quantaweight, she won that match, and then she finally lost to Tom Gilanovic. I
From
don't know how to
Lanovic.
pronounce that.
From
Yeah,
Lanovic,
it's very difficult to pronounce.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, so did you watch these two matches? What did you feel about that?
I watched the third round match.
Hmm.
I watched the entire match, and I was actually think. I started to think in the second set that I think she's on the way to win because, I mean, she was looking promising,
Hmm.
but then yeah, I think in the third set it just started to fall apart for her once she was broken. So I think yeah that, but yeah, as Tejas said, a win would have been nice. It would have been a fairy tale ending. But yeah, I think I read somewhere that after retirement, she's going to support uh, inclusion of player of players of color or something like
Hmm.
that. So I think that's very thoughtful. That's very nice, and I
Hmm.
think that will have a very good impact on the sport. And I think thanks for bringing the F1 point as well. I think that sport has been dominated by
And
white
men.
men. So I think, yeah, people don't talk about that very often. So I think that needs to be resolved as well.
Yeah, that's very true. So also like coming to Prachi, we just round up discussion with you. So did you get to watch the match? How did you feel about the final few matches of Serena Williams?
Final few, the one with Annette Kontaveit, I mean, that was a comeback. I
Yeah.
mean, I did not expect after the second set that she would fight back.
Mm,
As they just said, she looked jaded. She looked like, I mean, she
mm,
was, and everybody I think was preparing to, have that
yeah.
after match, post match interview and everything. But then she came back, she fought. But we could not see that again. But we saw a glimpse of it in the second set with Tomiljanovic when she
Mm,
won the
Yeah.
tiebreaker. But I think she could not keep up with that. Either she was
mm,
tired, mentally, physically, whatever. But again, a win would have been nice. But that doesn't define of what she has done throughout her career. I mean, people talk about including black men, black people, but I also talk about the way Venus and Serena both fought for equal pay
mm,
back in early 2000, late
mm,
2000s, right? That's when they actually started taking women's
mm,
tennis seriously. These days, we don't see that kind of passion for the game. Nobody
mm,
on the women's side would talk about inclusion that way other than Naomi Osaka. But then Naomi Osaka only does that. She
mm.
forgets that she has to
Doesn't
play
she doesn't
well.
love the
You
game?
have
Yeah.
to justify it through your game. And
Mm,
these sisters, they did that, right?
yeah.
I mean, if they asked for it, they proved it that how why they need it
Mm,
and why they deserve it, correct? So that is something which we lack in today's game on women's side. That
mm,
is something I would like to bring up. But yeah, definitely Serena, she is a legend, always has been, and
mm.
we'll miss her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think that's also like one of the points which I was kind of wanted to raise, that yeah, the current WTA for some reason it feels like a very small shadow of what it used to be in early 2000s, because I still remember I was equally excited to watch the men's and the women's final, and
Mm.
currently like I do watch it, but it's much more like keeping the score that oh she won, but it's
She,
no more the same amount of passion which we feel for the sport. When Naomi came to the scene, I was also indeed excited because again, she had the good shots. Ash Barty was there when I was very excited. But then again, Ash Barty chose a different career path. Naomi kind of just fell off. She's not the same anymore. And for Iga, I think she is kind of picking up. I do have hopes from her, but still very young to
she
lay your
has a
hopes
long way
upon.
to go. Yeah, she has a very long way to go, and we don't know what will happen to her, how people are going to mess up with her head.
Yeah, that happens like after some time. I think like when it comes to messing up of the head, like Emma Raducanu kind of, even though I did not like her game, she did put it very well that I think it was good for me that I lost so that at least I can climb my way back up instead of having that sudden shoot off to glory. But when we are talking about WTA, we must talk about the predictions. The final four are all set. The match is today. Whom do you think is going to make it out? For me, I'll just put it out there. I think it's Caroline Garcia. She has upset Iga before in her home country. So I think she's going to do it again, even if the final does happen. So what do you think? What do you guys think, Tejas?
I'll go with Iga still. I
Okay.
think, yeah, she has probably the most rounded game currently in WTA, according to me. If she gets her head right, right. I mean, she's very good. She can bagel anyone in the world.
Yeah.
Bagel and breadsticks, she can distribute it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, easy.
Yeah. Iga's
So
bakery.
I think yeah, I think I'll still go for Iga. I think her game is pretty good. She'll be the winner for me. Yeah.
Okay. So Prachi, what do you think is your
You
prediction
said
going to
she
be?
has defeated Iga, but in her home country, and both of them are Europeans away from their countries. I think Iga there has an advantage. She's playing really well,
Hmm.
and she is in the right space right now. I hope nothing messes up her head tomorrow.
Hmm.
Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, right? Yeah,
Today and day after.
day and day after.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I am also rooting for Iga Swiatek. I think she would
Hmm.
come out as the winner in the end.
Okay. The final panelist. Aniruddha, do you want to just comply or just have some spice, man? Add some spice. Throw some
I'm just
shots.
surprised that all four remaining players are seeded players. I mean, how often do you see
Good
that?
point. Good point.
I was
Good point.
I was waiting for this. I mean, I was like, why aren't we discussing WTA? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
so
Fine.
that should have been the second highlight after today's match, honestly. But so I mean, whoever wins, I mean, Iga is probably the favorite.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a surprise that all four players are seeded players. So that's a win for WTA, I think.
Yeah.
I think Tiafoe is playing really well lately. I mean, she has been winning tournaments lately, so
Yeah,
maybe
she was also in Wimbledon finals, so yeah.
yeah, could be. Let's see. Yeah, but yeah, it's a surprise that they're all seeded. Yeah.
Yeah, I also didn't notice, and just then Hunter pointed out, I was
Yeah.
like, wow, man,
Even I didn't
WTA is making
really-
progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
know, we
it's a
asked
win for
Aniruddha to make
WTA.
predictions last time. He said qualifier 1, qualifier 2,
By
qualifier
two.
Qualified 3, yes.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's happening on men's side right now. Like
Yeah.
random people are popping up here, like, Acha, Karen Hashanov is in the finals. We're like, okay, man, this is what we have to deal with. Fine.
Oh,
At least we
okay.
don't have to deal with the dark name. So I think
Yeah.
we're good, I guess.
Bracket was rightfully broken. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was meant to be broken, and it happened. It didn't.
Yeah, I really liked the group chat as soon as Kyrgios lost. Kyrgios lost, Kyrgios lost. Yeah.
Yes, look.
It was like everybody had like release. Like, okay, fine, nice. But
Yeah.
fine. Before we end, now we have to, because I know almost we all of us know at this point of time what we are thinking from the ATP side, but still, since we have to give the name, who do you think will win according to you? For me, I'm going all in Casper Ruud.
You have to win your belt. Yeah. You
Yeah,
need tattoo.
I need the tattoo. Aniruddha, who do you think is gonna win from the ATP side?
Alcaraz, I'm sorry, but Alcaraz.
Okay. Prachi, who do you think?
Alcaraz for me as well. Like definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Tejas, same?
No, I wanted to join you, but no, man. I think Alcaraz. I really wanted to.
I think we all want to join you, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the
Realistically, it's not possible. Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah, I think Carlos is the one for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. So everybody's rooting for Carlos. The match is tomorrow. We'll keep connected on WhatsApp, and we
Yeah.
will have a session as soon as the US Open ends. So I'll be catching all of you up once again. We'll be rounding off. We'll be seeing how our prediction turns out, and we'll again be discussing having more fun. Thank you everybody for joining me. This is it for this edition of Tennis Tour podcast. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Bye bye.